So welcome everyone. Today we are going to be going into a little bit of an inside preview of our upcoming Market and Monetize Boot Camp. For those who are or have been with our organization for a few years now, you'll recognize that this is sort of a spin on what we've done in the past called Profitability Live. And so this year we're doing it a little bit differently. We're going to be having two coaches that are leading two different tracks for both beginners and advanced learners in those tracks. They're going to come on here in a little bit and tell us more about what they're planning to do during their pieces or components of the boot camp. And then at the end, we will reserve some time for Q&A. So if you have any questions as we go through today's session, go ahead and drop those in the chat and I will be monitoring that. And so without further ado, let me hand it over to Caroline and Chelsea, who are our amazing coaches and speakers for this event.
Thanks, Isabel. I'm going to start and apologize to everybody first because I have a little tickle today, so just bear with me. It is that season, right? For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Caroline. I have been one of the coaches for the photo managers for a few years now, and you may have seen me in masterclass or leading other workshops or events. And I love marketing. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So I'm super excited to be hosting this workshop. And Chelsea's going to get into her stuff in a bit, but I was going to go through an overview of what I plan to cover first so that you can maybe get an idea for where you fit, beginner or advanced. Even if you've already registered, it's never too late to decide to switch tracks if that's what you need to do. If you haven't registered, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have to see if this is a good fit for you or not. So let me first say that as far as my business model, it's slightly different from maybe some of you. I run my business completely online, but I did want to make the point that this is not just for people who have a business model like mine. The stuff that I'm going to be covering can be applied to any business model anywhere. So, I don't want you to look at my business model and go, oh, I bet she's going to talk maybe just about that, or I wonder if that's for me or not. It is, absolutely. What's more important is that you look at beginning versus advanced to kind of see where you fit in there. So it definitely will apply to no matter what business model you have. And I also want to make crystal clear that if you are in this year's masterclass, or if you have been in previous masterclasses that I've run, this is different content. This is not the same content that we have there. So it's not an either or thing. This is completely different than what we do in masterclass. And similar for anybody who was in our coaching in Amsterdam, the other day, that is also different content. So I just want to make that crystal clear so that there's no confusion around that. So if we begin sort of just by looking at a brief overview, I'm going to start by explaining a little bit more about the beginning sessions. So we've split it up into beginning and advanced. And again, it may just be the stage of business that you're in. It may be that you have more experience in marketing from a previous job or from a different career or something like that. It doesn't mean necessarily business revenue. Okay, it means a level of experience with marketing itself, right? So the beginning marketing sessions are going to be for somebody who usually is newer in business, but not necessarily. It's just that you want a clearer strategy really for how you want to sell. Maybe you're not a fan of selling per se. Maybe that's something that you didn't do a lot of in a previous job or a previous career. Maybe it feels a little bit weird to talk about yourself. But you do understand that you have to sell in order to promote your services, right? So it's kind of more of that angle. This beginning sort of session is going to be for people who maybe don't love spending time on social media or online. Maybe you're more of a direct interaction type of person. Maybe you thrive on talking with people one-on-one. You do have clear ideas of what you want to offer though, right? So you're not so new in business necessarily that you just don't know what you want to sell. You do have an idea of what you want to sell, um, but maybe you are not comfortable selling it or don't know how to talk about it yet. And perhaps you haven't yet gotten to the point where you've asked for testimonials, maybe asked for feedback or customer case studies or anything like that, but you do know that you need them. And maybe you're wondering how you would go about asking for those. Maybe you're also a little bit newer in terms of the customer experience and the customer flow. So onboarding and offboarding, perhaps not that's not something that you've developed yet, or maybe it's just slightly unrefined, or maybe it just needs improvement and you feel like there are gaps in those processes that you want to tighten up. Or if you're at a point where you kind of struggle to get enough business through the door to make a good living at this, and you want ideas for how to increase visibility, that's going to be a little bit more of the beginning sort of angle. So I'd love to know in the chat if there's anybody who feels like that applies to them. If there's somebody here who's feels like, well, maybe I don't have my customer flow onboarding and offboarding sort of all ironed out. Maybe I don't have a lot of testimonials or reviews. Maybe I'm not a fan of selling per se, but I know I kind of have to do it because I need to get business through the door. I'd rather just focus on doing my things, um, what I'm good at, but I know I kind of have to wear that hat as well. Yeah, so Jackie is saying, I think you fit in there, and Stacy as well. Yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to decide right this minute because I'm gonna go over the advanced stuff too. But if that kind of hits home, if you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to position myself or how to talk about my offers, then usually the beginning is probably where you want to get started. Lori's saying that as well, yeah. And absolutely nothing wrong with being there. Again, it's just level of comfort with marketing and the amount of time really that you spend on marketing. And that is just getting started. Thank you for sharing. Fantastic. I'm glad that you're all considering this because, as you know, selling is one of those things we kind of have to do to get business through the door. Uh, I happen to love marketing and love selling, but I know like I'm probably a unicorn with that. I don't know. It's just I love talking to people about what I do and I love helping people with that. So that um, sounds like a good fit for those of you who shared in the chat. Um, can I also please ask if there's anything in particular that you feel is difficult about selling? So please share with me in the chat if there's something that you're like in particular thinking about, and that way I can make sure that I address that in the presentations. I know when I first got started, it was kind of understanding what I was offering, and Chelsea and I were just kind of talking about this earlier versus like uh, how I do it. So we were just sort of talking about like, well, if you offer scanning, that's what you offer as a service, like that's how you do it, but it's not necessarily your offer of what you're offering to somebody when you're selling it, right? So understanding the nuances there and how to talk about that, that was a big thing for me. Jackie is saying creating the content to be effective and consistent on social media. Yeah. So social media is going to be an interesting conversation because I firmly believe that you don't have to be on social media in order to have a profitable business. And if you are leaning towards more sort of grassroots local marketing, um, I think the beginner one might actually be a better fit for you. But you know, because we're going to go more on the advanced side, is going to be a little bit more sort of social media heavy, but um, it can absolutely be applied both ways. Lori's saying, never set my own fees for work, understanding the local market and worth of my services. Yeah. So Chelsea, that's something that you want to make a note of for sure, because that's a big thing. We just had this talk in Amsterdam. So I was at the coaching at the local meetup for the European managers, and that came up because everybody's in a different country with a very different culture, especially the attitude towards DIY and hiring services and hiring help and understanding how to price yourself in that environment, and then looking at your colleagues and what they're charging. It might be a different market versus like I know, for example, I was speaking with somebody from Switzerland who has a very different target market than I would do in Sweden. So a lot of nuances there, and that goes for your local area here in the U.S. as well. If you're or you Canada or Australia, wherever you're based. Um, Kelly is a market research, yeah, and that being nervous about using social media, and you're glad to hear you say you don't have to. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in fact going to show some really cool strategies for local marketing campaigns that you could take on that has nothing to do with the online world. So that would be a cool thing to listen to. And then let's see here. Yes, and Isabel brought up a good point, saying all the teaching components of the sessions will be recorded. So whatever you can't attend live, you'll be able to catch the recording. So it's a really good deal, actually, to get all of that. I know I'm very excited about hearing Chelsea's content, and I'm sure she's going to catch mine at some point too. So it'll be nice to have the recordings available. Annette is also saying doesn't know how to set pricing. Yeah, pricing is a difficult one, and I'll defer to Chelsea on that. She's got your back on that. But thank you for sharing. Getting back to sort of the beginning marketing sessions and the purpose of them, it's to help you get more social proof and understanding what social proof is. It doesn't mean it's social media. Social proof are different ways of getting people to validate your offers, and we're going to talk about what those are. We're going to get you more comfortable asking for feedback, getting you more comfortable with your processes so that you don't forget things, right? Onboarding and offboarding and things like that. Because I want you to make it easy for yourself to get sales coming through the door. And again, we're not relying on social media at all, even though a lot of this is like talk about social proof and all that. I firmly believe you don't have to go there if you don't want to, but you do have to have something in its place, right? So if you're not going to do that, what are you going to do instead, and how are you going to make those sales happen? Um, so that's the purpose of those beginning sessions. The first session, let me just cover kind of a brief outline of them. It's called Simplifying Social Proof for Sales. So we're going to talk about what social proof is, why you need social proof. We all do. We're going to talk about how to best leverage it and where to use it for the maximum sort of ROI. And then we're going to look at how you can combine some of these ideas when you're creating marketing campaigns to make it the most effective that it could possibly be. And I'm going to give you, in fact, some examples of some campaigns that I've been involved in that have been successful. And we're going to take a look at that and then kind of help you strategize your own. The second session for the beginning batch, it's called Optimizing Lead Generation Through Effective Offboarding. So many of you probably know that you have a good solid onboarding process in order to help the customer feel welcomed. And you also have a very good offboarding session to make the customer feel like they were taken care of and to wrap up the project. But a lot of people actually drop the ball a little bit on the offboarding, and that's usually where a lot more sales are made. So we're going to go through how you optimize that process in order to make more sales, because it's kind of like it works like a cycle. And I want to talk about sort of the contrast between both and how they work together in order to help your sales. We're also going to talk about closing out projects without closing out relationships. So I think a lot of organizers or just small business owners in general mistakenly think that if they close out projects, then they're sort of done with the customer. That doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. We're going to make sure that's clear. And we're going to make sure you have that process that's written down for yourself so that it's clear in your mind. We're going to talk about how to ask for social proof during offboarding, and then that cycle of lead generation that keeps business coming through the door. And there is going to be some breakout time. We're still kind of figuring out some of the logistics on the day of, but we're going to try and maximize the time that you have in order to strategize and discuss your own marketing campaigns so that you get some time to actually do the work. My apologies. Let me just grab some water here. It's not as bad of a tickle as it was yesterday, so I'm actually kind of relieved. We're just popping cough drops and getting into the flow. We're good. Okay, so that was the beginning sessions. Um, hmm, hmm. Yes, Jill. Isabel was just saying you'll have access to all the recordings so that even if you're, focusing on one, you can certainly watch all of it. And I think uh, just go with your gut, what you feel like you might get the most out of, and then you can always come back and revisit. I think all the sessions are going to be fantastic. But know too that you don't necessarily have to apply every single strategy to your business, right? We're doing a couple of different strategies that will apply to different people and different types of business models. And you absolutely don't have to apply to everything. If you can get one or two strategies that you feel like work for you, then you take those and you run with it. So, yes, all the content is going to be there though. It's just more of like, what would you like to get the most help with and experience during that day? Okay, so advanced marketing, that's going to be for somebody who's likely a little bit more experienced in business, maybe have a couple more years under the belt. Maybe you like selling like me, but you'd like to get even better at it. I know I'm always trying to improve my sales techniques. You have a little bit of a handle on conversions and what that means. And maybe you even have a good grasp of what conversions mean in your business. So you know that if you talk to 10 people, you're going to close nine of them, right? Or you're going to close four of them, or you just have an idea of how you do in terms of sales and maybe have a better grasp of how much capacity you have in your business model. Maybe you already have customer processes in place. Maybe you have a solid onboarding and offboarding strategy, but you would always like to improve it. Um, Maybe you have enough business, maybe this is a full-time business for you, but maybe you want more qualified leads, right? So instead of sort of wasting time with people who can't afford you, maybe you want to, figure out like how do I get people only who can afford me who call, right? How do I refine the clientele that I have or that I want to work with? And maybe you want some clarification just on sales strategies for each offer. At this point in business, you probably have multiple offers, not just one. And so maybe you want a different strategy for each one, or just want clarification on what campaigns you're doing for each one. So do we have anybody, again, please tell me in the chat, anybody who feels like maybe they have a bit more marketing experience, maybe a full-time business, maybe too much work, and they need to actually refine who they work with, or perhaps they just have solid processes in place and just looking to kind of see what can be done there. Yeah, Kate, perfect. Leaning towards advanced placement. Yeah. And I'd love to hear too if you are or feel like you're more of an advanced person here. What offers are you currently selling? Are you selling scanning services? Like, are you selling courses? Like, what are you actually selling that we could help with? Patty's always looking to refine. I know you are, Patty. You're the pro. Um, Always looking to refine the marketing systems. Yeah. A lot of people who have sort of more of an advanced uh, um, marketing, I should say, placement here are going to be people who have multiple offers, maybe who have, I want to say, 5 or more years in business. You're good at selling. You kind of know the spiel. You kind of know what people need to hear when you talk to them to close them. Um, things of that sort. Yeah, so Joy is saying I'm posting on social media, but not converting those to followers or sales. So that would be a perfect example of an advanced placement because, you're consistent perhaps in what you're posting, or you have a campaign and you know what you're trying to sell, but maybe it's not working quite the same way. So you maybe need to refine the strategy. So that would be a good placement for you, Joy. Um, Conversion is something that we're going to talk a lot about because, I could care less if you have 1 million followers. If nobody's buying from you, we got a problem, right? Um, if you have 10 people who are buying from you, you have 100% conversion rate. Like that would be amazing. You know what I mean? So conversion is really what we're going to be focusing on, and not necessarily. Now there are strategies to go, either way, right? Because the more followers you have, technically, usually the more conversions you have. But that's not necessarily true. It depends on what you're selling. So that's something that we're going to be looking at in the advanced placement. Okay, so the purpose again of those sessions is to get you more clear on your sales and your conversion strategies. We're going to talk about social selling versus social networking. What's the difference there? What's the strategy behind each approach? We're going to talk a little bit about organic versus paid marketing. We're going to talk about what strategy works well for what type of offer. And again, a lot of the advanced stuff is going to be slightly more of a wider reach. So it would be a great fit for anybody who wants to be on social, anybody who wants to reach a wider audience, anybody interested in partnerships, campaigns, larger affiliate marketing, that type of stuff. So it's going to lean a little bit more towards the masses. Not to say that you can't apply to anything else, you can. It's just more of a wider reach with more visibility for you. So the first session in the advanced is called Optimizing Offer Conversions through Social Selling and Networking. So again, we're going to talk about a lot of the marketing strategies that work well, especially online, especially for those of you who are trying to reach an audience, uh, either through social or through websites where it's somebody that you've never met before, right? So without outside of your local network. We're going to talk about how to decide on what type of strategy to use in those offers, how the pricing of those offers will play a part in the strategy itself, and how to project some of the sales and understand like the conversion rates and all of that and how that's going to look. Um, the second session is going to be called Powerful Pitching, Stories That Sell. And that's really about infusing more storytelling into your business. There are different types of stories that we can talk to our customers, about us. And we're going to talk about those different types of stories and when you use them for what purpose and how they sell different aspects of your business. And then we're going to talk about how you present yourself and your business and talk about what you do and your offers and just how you get more storytelling into your marketing and how you apply that to your wider strategy. So that is kind of what I have there. I'm happy to answer questions on it, but before I do, let's turn it over to Chelsea, and she can tell you what she has planned, and then we'll go to Q&A at the end. So, Chelsea, I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Hello. I am definitely a please put your camera on person because I like seeing faces. I see Jackie is like, yeah, let's do it. All right. I'm so happy to see so many faces on here. All right. So yeah, like everyone said, my name is Chelsea Skomack. I am a certified financial planner and behavioral financial advisor. I'm here in the United States, Florida to be exact. So, quick thank you for letting us reschedule last week as we were hit by Hurricane Milton. Fun times down here. Thankfully, we're okay and we were not directly hit. But I do appreciate everyone working with the fact that I was going to be indisposed. So, um, please share things that you are thinking about. Honestly, we're going to be covering a lot when it comes to money mindset and pricing. And I know this is it's a very touchy area, I think, but also it's really what's going to impact the foundation of everything that you're doing. I know for me, a lot of things with money mindset were blocking me personally from being able to sell and market in a way that it was receivable. And once I got all of this stuff worked out, the rest was so much easier. So once you figure out like why you're doing what you're doing, why someone should buy from you, what is it that you're offering that's more than just the doing part of your job, and understanding how to price so that it works for your life, but it also works for your clients, customers. That all is going to be really big when we're talking about 2025. What does 2025 look like for you? And this is coming at like the best time because what is it, October 14th? It's going to be November 14th before we know, and we have this full day packed of fun filled conversations. And yeah, let's get into it. I can ramble sometimes. So if I don't stick to my notes, I get really excited and I just talk. So let's go back to the notes. So For the more foundational, um, like beginner level of money and pricing sessions, this is going to be for you if you are newer in business and you're possibly and or possibly transitioning from a 9 to 5 job into doing this full time. There is a big shift that happens mentally when you go from putting in hours working for somebody and getting a paycheck, and then going into, actually creating something and selling an offer, and then making revenue in a business, and then collecting a paycheck. So, um, if you also feel like you're not confident in what you're selling and you have a hard time charging for your services, this would be the sessions for you. If you're not exactly sure what the offer is, like Caroline mentioned earlier, we just chatted at like length about this because this is huge. What you offer does not only equal the doing part of what you're doing for somebody, the actual service. So, understanding what you're offering and how to price that is going to be a big part of the pricing conversation, but also the money mindset conversation, believe it or not. And if you have a hard time seeing how you're going to replace your paycheck with the business revenue that you are bringing in, and you feel like your income is unpredictable, this is the sessions for you. Anybody, does that resonate at all? I see some head nods. Amen, count me in. Love it. All right. So, what do you find right now is difficult for you? Is it just pricing? Is it just like your mindset around it? Like, kind of fill me in because I did make a note of Lisa's piece, and I'm definitely focusing on that because that seems like a big part of what all of you are thinking. And just to reiterate, she said, I've never set my own fees for my work, understanding local market and worth of my services. If that resonates, like tell me more, all of the things above. Yeah, so attending both sessions, yeah. So there's the beginners money mindset and pricing, and then there's going to be advanced money mindset and pricing. So, yeah. Like, tell me what you're feeling, what you're thinking, just share in the chat below. This is really your time right now. I'm just here telling you cool things that I'm going to get to talk about. But if I can include things that are like bites from you, this really is helpful for me to make sure that everything that we're doing is for you and that you're getting the most out of this as possible. But just to give you a little bit more goodies, the purpose of what we're going to be doing in these sessions, I want you to understand your money stories and how they're affecting you financially. I want you to gain practical tools for transforming your money mindset. I want you to be able to separate yourself from your business and have healthy boundaries between those, and have a healthy growth that supports your lifestyle and what you want to do with this business. Creating repeatable strategies so that we have long-term success. Developing pricing that aligns with your financial and business goals. So, kind of going back to what I had just said about separating and healthy. Understanding what exactly your pricing is going to be covering when it comes to your offer. Creating a scalable business model. This one's huge, because if you feel like your business starts and ends with you, you're going to want to create a business model that scales and allows other people and other things to come in to help provide the services you offer. And I really want you to feel confident about your current pricing. If it's the right pricing, we'll get more into that, of course. But then anytime you go to raise prices, I want it to be like yeah, this is just what's happening, and not oh my God, I'm raising my prices. Everyone's going to fire me. No one's going to want to work with me. I don't want any of that. We want calm, cool, strategic, confident pitching of new pricing. So with all of that said, Okay, hold on. I did see some of these things. I love this. Okay, don't mind me. I'm just reading the comments. Oh yeah, money stories, those are huge. And if I have time during this, I can definitely share one with you guys and how it's important. Believe in the service that I provide. Yeah, imposter syndrome's huge, and that will also live in your money stories in different ways. But if you can combat your money stories and get that like strategically worked out, it helps a lot with the imposter syndrome. Yes, so you don't undercut your services and replace your corporate income. That's my jam. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that. Okay. Converting them into paying clients. Raise your hand if you've done a lot of stuff for free because you felt bad for charging. Yeah. I've lived there. So I totally get it. I totally get it. All right. Okay, so Jackie's in year 1. So she's more of a generalist right now until you find your niche. That's completely normal. I think like as you work with people, you'll get more of a sense of what you really love doing for people, but then it's charging appropriately so that you can get to the point of niching down and feeling comfortable with that. like everything for free. Yeah. Don't we all? All right. So I love all this chat. Thank you for indulging me with all of this. So let me get more into what we're going to talk about in each session. So a lot of what I said about like what I want you to be able to take away, they're almost a little bit integrated between both sessions because money mindset and pricing can be so interlocked. And I think that's the beauty of these topics too, is marketing is also hugely incorporated with money mindset and pricing. So this is going to be a full day of you guys being able to like take stuff and go run with it. And then when we get together December 6th and hash it all out, you'll be so ready for 2025. It's going to be so good. But so my first session for the foundational money mindset is dream big, earn bigger, transforming money mindsets and empowering your entrepreneurial journey. So this is where we're going to be talking about unlocking your financial protection. My gosh, I had such a big lead in and then I forgot my words. Unlocking your financial potential and entrepreneurial spirit, identifying money blocks that hinder financial abundance, transforming your relationship with money using actionable tools, transitioning from employee to entrepreneur and treating like your business as a separate entity, empowering yourself with mindset shifts to create the life and business of your dreams. So that's all money mindset, like the part 1 conversation. So part 2 conversation with our second session, it's going to be profits with purpose, pricing strategies and business models for thriving entrepreneurs. Thriving. I really love that word. That's what you guys will feel like by the time we're done. So we're going to talk about learning how to replace your old paycheck with a profitable, purpose-driven business. We hit that already. That's great. You already know what's going to be in there. We're going to uncover the secrets to creating pricing strategies that support your financial goals, building a business model that serves your clients while giving you freedom to grow, structuring your services for maximum profitability and impact. So we like more profit because we can do more fun stuff with profit. And this will all too, what I love about this is the advanced conversation is getting more into not being in a prison in your business and talking about changing things to scale. This session really is going to be like, how do we start with making a business that's able to scale? So for those of you in your first couple of years, this one's going to be huge. So that you have that mindset into going into the business and saying, this is what I want to eventually be doing. How do I set it up now? That's for you. So what other things are you thinking? Keep them coming. And then I will be copying and pasting all of your responses. So. Anybody have anything? Will we go through specific examples of pricing strategies for various service offered by? Yes, we can definitely do that. And I will connect more with Caroline because being on the outside, I know the big picture of what you all are doing. And if you actually feel free, I'm going to drop my email down here. If you are doing specific services, if you just want to shoot me an email and then I can use you as an example, if you're cool with that, Jackie. Okay. We can do that. And I'll connect with Caroline too and see if there's anything else I'm missing. She's been a great resource, by the way. If nobody's not like nobody knows Caroline, she's amazing. All right, so are we ready to get into the advanced conversation? Any other questions on the beginning, foundational money mindset, profits? No? Cool. Okay, so how many, like, I don't know, raise your hand. Like, that's a feature in here. If you raise your hand on where you feel like you're falling already, is it beginner or you're like, I want to see the next layer? All right. Oh, next, what is this? Next layer? Kate? Ah, yes. Okay. All right, let's do it. All right, so advanced money and pricing. Okay, so this is for you if you're more experienced in the business. It feels like you've hit a wall and now you're kind of stuck at a certain income level. You're burnt out. Maybe you have too many cycles on highs and lows of revenue. Is this resonating, Kate? A little bit? Yeah, okay. All right, so you have a business that's solely reliable on you. You know you might be undercharging, but you have no idea how to price the services so that it's not undercharging. You probably need to hire, but what the hell does that look like? And you don't have the revenue that's there to support it comfortably. And you're worried. You're worried about expanding and bringing on more because you don't want to impact the amazing, incredible services that you've been giving for your clients. Does that sound okay? I like the nodding. This is great. All right, so we already know Kate feels that way. Who else feels that? And it's okay. If you might actually find yourself feeling certain things that I'm saying in one area, but feel more like you're in the foundational on some other things. So it's okay if you're feeling like both. And like we mentioned before, there will be recorded pieces of these presentations. So if you're not in it day of, you can always watch it and see if stuff applies. But all right, well, that's where we're at. Let me get into the purpose, like what we want you to walk away with. So from the advanced sessions, I want you to be able to transform any last bits of limiting beliefs around money and getting you to a point where you elevate your profits. We're going to be talking about providing tools and strategies that aid in long-term business growth, just like in the last one. We're not here to just talk about today and then deal with 2025 and then forget about 2026, 2027. So everything that we're talking about is for long-term focus. I want you to feel empowered to lead in your business with freedom and vision and not really being tied to the day-to-day. So whether part of that is letting like AI and automation come in, which I'm huge about, or bringing in supporting team members who can do some of that mundane stuff. I want you to feel empowered to be able to go and do it. Scaling your business so that it works for you, not the other way around. I know a lot of us get trapped in, and this is any industry, any business. We will treat this thing like it's our baby, grow it to a certain point, and then we feel like we can't let go. And then we end up doing all the day-to-day and then we like suffocate ourselves. The way that I use this, I actually coach other financial advisors and we call it a practice that has become a prison. So very much this is a common thing, but definitely something to work on when you're talking about scaling. Let's see, adjusting the business model so that it supports scaling without compromising client service. Develop and practicing more practical, repeatable strategies for navigating price increases and maintaining that healthy growth and balance between having business growth and have client satisfaction. So for the first session, that's more on the money mindset portion. That will be called Profit Power, Mastering Money Mindsets and Scaling Your Business with Freedom. So this is where we'll talk about how to unlock your sales potential and skyrocket your profits. Sometimes we're offering stuff that like actually could make your entire business more profitable, or something that you can easily put together and sell. And it's like a very easy either lead generation tool, or, and I know Caroline's like, yes. We all have something that we can offer that has less of us doing stuff all the time and more having it like there and selling itself, that helps you then sell stuff of you doing stuff all the time. It's great. Identifying money stories and blocks that limit the growth, implementing powerful, repeatable strategies for sustained success. And I do still have the transitioning from employee to entrepreneur, because you'd be surprised how I'm a planner. I see this all the time. It's very hard to separate the business from yourself. So I've had clients who have been in business for like 10 years and they had never opened a business bank account or a separate bank account for any of their stuff. They're just kind of operating as a sole proprietor and having all of their like compensation come directly to them, which can be fine. But there's also like things with taxes and strategy that would super amplify your profit. And if you keep treating it like it's a paycheck, then none of that stuff can be absorbed. So really getting clear with the business as its own entity, it is its own individual, and how we can partner with it to then really help you get to where it is that you want to go with the business and for your life. But yeah, and then for the pricing session, we're going to be doing, it's called Scaling Smart, Pricing for Exponential Growth and Client Satisfaction. So we're talking about learning how to scale your business without sacrificing quality service and overloading yourself. So doing this so that you don't burn out all over again. Discovering pricing strategies that fuel exponential growth and align with your evolving goals. Adjusting your business model to meet both organizational expansion and client satisfaction, and navigating price increases smoothly while maintaining exponential service. And just to give you guys a little bit of an example. So for me, I am service to service. So we have a lot of similarities in the way you have your business and how I have my business. So I do deliver something to clients. And when I started out, I was charging like $500 for 6 months worth of doing and coaching and advising. Yeah, I know. It's like makes my skin crawl a little bit thinking about those days. And I would even discount that. Yeah. Yeah. So I was working part-time jobs to feed myself. Because I wouldn't let my business be what it needed to be. And from then, now my minimum pricing is like $6,000 for one engagement. So anywhere from 6,000 to like 15,000. And that's just with the planning practice. With the advising coaching, it is 15,000 for the year to 60,000 a year. So there's a lot here that I have used and done for myself. But are we still good on time? Can I share a quick money mindset story? Okay. So I was very not woo-woo of anything. So a lot of this stuff does go into like law of attraction, being open for opportunities and stuff. And I know that might make a lot of us kind of like, that's like not great. Like you want the practical strategy. This is why I will always pair mindset and a little bit of woo with the practical strategy. So when I was charging $500 and being broke and chronically broke, which also as a financial advisor is really lame to, to do. My one of my actual coaches, she was like, "Why are you having a hard time charging for your services?" And I would give her like an answer and she'd be like, "But why?" And I think it was like 5 whys in, and I had vomited out. Didn't even realize I said it. But I was like, "If I charge people, they won't love me." What kind of crap is that, right? And she's like, explain." And I was like, huh? Like at first I didn't realize it, and then it dawned on me that when I was 16, my parents had a divorce, and my dad, funny enough, actually cheated on my mom with a massage therapist. I know it's super cliche, but that's what happened. And she had told my dad that all I wanted from him was money, so he wouldn't see me. And it took us like 4 years to repair that. And now we're good. Everything's fine. We have a great relationship. But then I go into a business where I literally have to ask people for money. So I couldn't ask people for money because I didn't want them to think that all I wanted from them was money when I really was just trying to help them with their money. So when I discovered that and I was able to start seeing where that was playing out, I was able to correct things. And now I have no problem charging for my services. And my services are not about me anymore. They're about what I'm offering to my clients. So all of this, what we're really talking about, will make or break your business. Marketing, getting visible and getting seen will make or break your business. So I think this is a wonderful boot camp that the photo managers are putting on. And I'm so happy that we are here and we get to do this with you today. And I know we have time for Q&A. But I want to see what Caroline says. Wanting to feel liked and feel needed. Yeah, that is exactly true. Exactly true. Do I know enough to do this? Oh, girl, if I can sell financial advising that is in the pit of there's so much in the world of financial planning and advising that I don't know, I wouldn't, no, none of us would be in business. There's always new things that you're going to learn and discover. And guess what? When you learn and you discover more, you get to charge for it. It's beautiful. Great share. Thank you. I like being vulnerable. I feel like it helps. But yeah, what else we got? That's a good one. Um, yeah, you are not your customer. I actually had a conversation with my boyfriend. He's the worst client I've ever had. Because he doesn't listen to my advice and then he'll just screw something up and then I have to help him fix it. And when I told him what I charged, he about had a heart attack and he was like, "I wouldn't pay you for that." And I was like, "I know, because you're not my client." But to like give you perspective, for those of us who would naturally be inclined to DIY, when you get to a point where you're too busy and you have to think and be creative, like this is stuff I would outsource because I could probably figure it out, but I don't like, I'm just never going to get to it. It's kind of like cleaning out your closet. Like, you know, the closet, like the one closet that is the everything closet. I probably will never go in there to clean it out unless we move. And I will prevent us moving so that I don't have to clean the closet. You know what I mean? So like those are things that people will pay for because people value all different types of things. And so it's best not to project your money stories onto your customers. Yeah, just one closet. No, there's multiple. I was just trying not to feel so bad. So thanks. This is awesome. Yep, don't wear your own money shoes. Yep. Yeah. So I guess, are there any questions that Caroline and I and Isabel can answer for you right now? Like, is the investment scary? Is the like, are you not? Can we start today?
We can start today, Catherine. You can send us an email, for example. I'll put my email as well. You're all welcome to email me. Obviously, like I have much of my content drafted and ready to go already, but I'm always interested in making sure that it aligns with what you need to hear, what you need to list, like talk about. So if you have any input at all that you want me to know about in terms of marketing, Chelsea said the same about money. If you want specific examples, things like that, that's definitely something that we can work into to these present. We want to make sure that they align as much as possible with what you need to learn. So
Oh,
yeah, we're both open.
yeah.
Yeah, and this was excellent, Caroline and Chelsea. Thank you so much. And uh, early bird registration, I just wanted to mention, is still available through the end of October. So if you're not registered yet and you'd like to save $100 off the full price of registration, that is now is when you want to take advantage of that throughout the month of October before the price goes up in early November. And one thing that we haven't really talked a whole lot about today is more of the logistics. We did mention it briefly, but I just wanted to wrap up and speak a little bit on the logistics in terms of how it's going to flow and what to expect as an attendee. So everything is going to be happening in one Zoom room. And so you might be wondering, well, how is that going to happen when there's two concurrent tracks happening? So the way that we're going to do that is we are going to be using breakout rooms to sort of host the individual sessions in the tracks. And so what that means is every attendee is going to come into the same Zoom room. So there's going to be one link for the entire day, makes it super easy. And if you decide 5, 10, 30 minutes into a session that you feel like you're in the wrong track, either you want to go over to the advanced track or you want to go over to the beginner track, you can do that. All you got to do is switch from one breakout room to the other breakout room. So we're going to make it really easy in that aspect. And then the other thing is, part of the program is getting together with the whole group and sort of sharing ideas and insights that you guys came across in your individual breakout rooms for the more of the teaching components. And so you'll get to hear from people that have been in the other sessions as well. And it really, will allow you to get in touch with the community and see what other people are doing as part of the boot camp as well. And then in December, we have sort of a follow-up session, so that once you've learned everything that you've learned in November in the main boot camp, ideally implemented some of that in your business, we'll come together again in early December and share sort of where you are, what you've implemented, and get ideas from others in the program, your peers, as well as feedback from both Caroline and Chelsea as far as, are you on the right track, and setting you up for success for 2025. Kate asked in the chat if there's a referral code to share this with non-TPM members. I'll have to check. We've done that in the past for these events. I'll have to just double check with Kathy and I'll get back to you on that. Any other final questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Both Caroline and Chelsea added their emails to the chat. So if you have any specific questions for them, feel free to reach out. You can also reach out to us at support@thephotomanagers.com, and we'll do our best to either answer those or direct you to the right person to answer those. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at the Market and Monetize Bootcamp next month.